Hey, everybody, and thanks for watching. My name's Adam, and I'll be your host here on another episode of Straight Jacket White Rabbit. Picture this, you guys. We live in a world that vastly rotates on consumerism. What you can buy and purchase, countries' buying power and selling power, the almighty dollar, no matter which dollar it is. But have you ever found yourself buying something, and then after you've bought it, you're not quite sure why you really wanted it in the first place? These are the subjects I'm going to be talking to you about today. What if the thoughts in your head aren't yours? What if your needs, wants, and desires have all been told to you? What if we live in a world where we were told that subliminal advertising was outlawed, but it's on every major radio station, TV network, newspaper, and even in just in general, the frequencies that we are around constantly through cell phones, through radio waves, through satellite signals. We've gotten a lot better, you guys, at subliminal advertising. Sending subliminal messages to a recipient who will then do as they are asked or suggested. Now, we know that it's been outlawed, very strictly worded. It's been outlawed in its old form. But we've made giant leaps in technology since then. And what people aren't talking about is we've actually come up with running processes that work for subliminal advertising that has nothing to do with images. The old subliminal advertising worked by showing you flash images of things, usually words or ideas, during the course of a regular filming. And if done correctly, you would never even know they were there. We've now come up with sound. That's right. Sound frequencies that we can play that are not audible to us, but we still pick it up. Our brain still picks up the intent of what's being broadcast. But it doesn't require the flash images, which can be picked apart and proven. It just requires a simple signal. Here's the point. That signal is in every home across our country. It's floating over your head while you're outside. It's in your pocket while you're carrying your phone. We've already proven that electrical signals can do a lot of things to the human mind. They can cause paranoia. They can cause aggression. They can cause lethargic feelings. They can cause you to do a lot of different things. And we've spent billions here in the US looking into this. So my question to you is this. Is subliminal advertising really dead? Or do we live in the materialistic world that we live in because we've just gotten better at it? Is it really that humans have come to the point where we can't stand to not have that $4.99 plushy bunny? Or have you been told to spend your money on things you don't need so that you still have to work and maintain your 40 to 60 hour work week to be able to survive in this world? And here's why I think it's possible. Not only is our economy, you have to remember, driven by finance, you guys, and what we spend equals how many stores can open, how many taxes are collected. It affects everything. So what would be the purpose of not using the technology? If you have the technology that could make people buy whatever you wanted and keep working in this giant pretend world that we now live in, where people have to work 40, 50, 60, 70 hour work weeks just to get around, just to be able to buy your children things, just to be able to afford your rent and the food you want, and to take a day off here and there so you're not working 7 days a week. Is there some kind of global cabal that is planting the idea to, I'm not going to say burn through your money, I'm going to say throw your money away on things that you don't want or really need? Think about it. If they can keep you working because they can keep you buying stupid things and things you don't need and things you don't really want, but you could never catch them because you can't prove this type of subliminal advertising, how would you know what choice was yours and what choice was theirs? I I have a lot of friends, you guys, and I can't name one of them who hasn't come up to me at some point and been like, I have no idea why I bought this. Or I bought something really stupid and I don't know what I did or why I did it. A lot of people do things like this. And it seems to just be in our, I mean, ingrained into who we are now as humans. It seems to be in our nature. But I wonder, is it really? Because you look at people who don't watch a lot of TV, who don't spend all day on their phones. And I've noticed a trend. These people do not tend to have the flea market's worth of useless crud in their house, their storage units, whatever. They tend to be living within their means. They tend to be happier, in my opinion. Are these people just staying away from a large portion of this subliminal advertising attack that could be going on by avoiding these things that broadcast these frequencies, these sounds? Because make no mistake, we're in a new age. We're, I firmly believe, being told what to buy, where to buy it, buy more. Oh, you can't afford it? Put it on layaway. Oh, you can't do that? You can get a loan at this place. We have been sold the need to consume so much over the last 100 years that it is literally taken over who we are as a people. We consider we consider how much cool stuff you have and how much money you have to buy said cool stuff as status symbols, as like who you are. And I'm not saying everybody thinks this way, you guys, of course not, but a lot of people do. This weird consumerism that we now live in, I honestly believe, is drilled into us from the time you're a small child till the time you're an adult. And I don't believe it's done in the same traditional ways as old subliminal advertising. We have things now that are sounds that only you can hear. When a speaker is pointed right at you, you can hear it. But if it's pointed like to the left or the right, you can't hear it. It's directed sound waves that are literally made in your ear or in your head that you can hear. We have this technology. It exists. So what's stopping these companies from finding ways to integrate this into radio programs, cell phone messages, all other kinds of frequencies that we're bombarded with daily? I mean, most of us are not people who are in the field of, radio waves and microwaves and all these other ways that information can travel. So, are we being duped? Are we being controlled? There are a large group of people who believe so. Um, if you don't believe me, look up some of the ideas for patents on places that have done these little weird, I'm going to say almost minority report type advertising requests. There are companies right now who have patents on technology that will identify you directly and basically assault you with ads 24/7 when you go out anywhere. They'll have kiosks in public, in private, rented out to different companies. And every time you walk past this kiosk, facial recognition will look at you and target you with a specific ad. Here's the creepy part. Part of the patent is it's agreed upon because they don't want random loud noise everywhere of all these ads going off with hundreds of people outside. They intend to make them ads only you can hear. Now, there's talk about how they're going to do this, and a lot of the company CEOs say, well, we use a lot of, we're looking into a lot of directed sound wave amplification, which is what I said. It's those speakers where like you can point it right at someone and they can hear it, but as soon as you slightly turn it away from them, the sound's completely gone. You can't hear it. Well, that would work, but that would only work if they had you still in a spot long enough to listen to their ad. Otherwise, you could just walk past their ads and you'd never hear but the first word or two of them, which I don't know about you, but that would absolutely drive me nuts if that were to happen to me. But there are companies putting patents together like this, you guys. And my point is this: when does it come down to we're making the decisions on what we want and what we need? And how much of it is really us being told to consume, to buy, to need these things that we don't need so that they can keep us in this freaking rat race? You know, most people, that's what they do with their life. Once you're an adult, you get up, you say, you say good morning to your kids and whatnot, send them off to school, and you go to work. And a lot of adults, especially nowadays, are working 6, 7 days a week nonstop because they need the finances, they need the money. Now, even though bills have gotten more expensive, rent raises, food costs raise, I get that. Most people could survive a lot better on their money that they earn, even survive off of working less if they weren't buying so much raised priced consumeristic garbage. I mean, you guys, I was the kid. I mean, maybe it's just me. I was the kid, whenever I was in my late 20s and stuff, who people were like, you buy your shirt from Walmart? I'm like, yeah, they were two for $10. I I have absolutely no problem with that, you guys. I don't need to be the guy with the 900, the $900 sneakers and the $85 shirts and the why? So that I can go to work and spend less time with my children, my grandchildren, my wife. It covers me. We're good. And if it works, why do I need a more expensive version? I don't want to believe, and this is partly the reason I want to believe that this conspiracy is true, you guys, that we are all being controlled, at least to some degree, on what we purchase. Because I don't want to believe that humans in general want to live this way. I don't believe that we want to do 50, 60-hour work weeks with barely anything to show for it unless you're in a really good field. Okay, the average workers, the average people right now, we're struggling to put food on the table. We're struggling to pay bills, let alone, that special toy your son or grandson or whomever might want. But a lot of the reasons we struggle is because we do as a community, as a whole, we tend to spend more. If you look at how much consumerism in the United States, and I'm specifically talking about the United States, you guys, but this, I believe, happens more than just here. We are the consumer capital of the world, bar none. Look it up. That is what we do. We consume. We buy up everything. There, I mean, there's freaking memes about it, dude. Americans will buy anything. So, is it really that we're just that into consumerism? Or are we being targeted to keep us into this way of life, this system of oppression, of going to work, coming home, maybe if you're lucky, spending a few hours with your kids before they have to go to bed, with your wife before she has to go to bed to be up for work the next day. If you're lucky enough to have a significant other that works, I mean, it's unnatural to be stuck in this cycle, and a lot of people feel this way. So when I heard this conspiracy being talked about, how the people believe that the U.S. government is still dabbling in subliminal messaging for advertising, how the old laws for subliminal messaging are very largely loophole. They're full of loopholes. And I looked at some of them. Some of them are ridiculous. It specifically states like which colors you can't use, the way you can't put words and stuff printed in. But it says nothing. Most of these say nothing about sound. And the power of sound is the power of control. There are tones that you can give that can make people docile. Like I said, there are tones that you can give off that will make people aggressive, that'll make people scared, that'll make people hallucinate. This is a science. We know this to be fact. So what else are they using it for? Are we possibly in one of the largest control schemes ever created? Keep them locked in the matrix so that way they don't make trouble for the system. Look at our annual income from this country's consumerism. Our consumerism drives our nation. So if they had a way to make us consume more than what we wanted to, why wouldn't they? Look at our military funding. Our military funding is more than the next 5 countries combined, if not more, here in the US. That's just military dollars from taxpayers. That's not counting all the other money we give our country. And it's all coming from the taxes we pay, which are pretty much on everything, let's be honest. You pay taxes for air and water, and you pay taxes for everything nowadays. But are all of the choices that you're making about where you're spending your money really yours? Maybe we should all look at our books a little bit better and see what it is we've been buying that we didn't really need or want. I believe that we very well could be living in a world trapped by thoughts that are not our own, guided to purchases that are not our own, in order to keep us in the workforce for more days a week, for longer hours, as a form of control. And there's a lot of reasons they could do it. It could be for the money. It could be for simple control, to keep us under control. Let's be honest. Let's look at humans. We tend to get unruly when we're not under somebody's control. This is why we have leaders. This is why we have whatever, because otherwise we're just a band of people killing each other. This tribe kills that tribe, and this wandering tribe kills that tribe. Was all of this instituted as a way to keep you peaceful on the treadmill? Keep you busy with other things? I have to admit, I didn't think so at first, but after looking into this, I really think it could be a possibility that we are just being manipulated, that we are simply pawns in a bigger capitalist game. We keep the wheels of this and every other country moving, just based on the fact that we want more. We want bigger, we want better, we want newer, we want higher tech, we want this, we want that. Instead of just being happy with being alive and enjoying the beauty of the world around us. I've always been one of the people who said, I don't need, thousands and thousands of dollars to be happy. I'm perfectly content driving my family up to a free day at the lake or going hiking in the Garden of the Gods, any of this stuff. But even I have to admit that, I spoil my children whenever I can because I love them. If my son for his birthday wants, the new video game or the new whatever it is, I usually try my best to give it to them. And no, my kids are not spoiled. They don't get everything they want. But I do feed into this commercial driven world that we live in. And the sad fact is here in America, our consumerism is literally outweighed by nothing else that we do as a country. It surpasses our military. It surpasses everything. Buying things in this country literally means everything to us because we all do it. But is it really our choice? With things like HARP shooting massive amounts of signals into the ionosphere that we don't know the effects of, to all the radio waves and cell phone signals and satellite signals and the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth and all of these signals being pumped in and around us 24/7. Can you really say that every consumer-driven thought that you've ever had was your own? Think about it. Until next time, this has been Straight Jacket, White Rabbit, your host Adam, signing off. Much love to you all.